It was her tweet that canceled the show. And she wrote, "It's sad when one cast member," that's what she called me.
Roseanne Barr just now addressed the tragic betrayal by her former co-star, Sara Gilbert, breaking her silence on the matter. After years of collaborating on Roseanne, Gilbert and Barr's friendship was severed when Gilbert publicly criticized Barr following her contentious tweet. Barr lost more than only a program. She also lost a reliable friend. This betrayal has hurt more than any Hollywood controversy she has ever experienced, and it has made her doubt her ability to trust anybody again. Listen up, for the narrative of betrayal and deceit is far from ended, and Roseanne's devastating remarks expose a wound that is deeper than we could have ever imagined. Nobody knows the pain of cancel culture like Roseanne Barr, who is at the center of one of the most divisive issues of our day. Despite Barr's fame and success as an actor and comedian, her private story, which included betrayal, anger, and isolation, was sometimes overshadowed. Sara Gilbert, who had worked with and been friends with Barr for a long time, contributed to the public's disapproval of Barr. The business and its members were cruel and selective in their judgment, and this act of betrayal cemented her opinion in that fact. The article delves on Barr's complex emotions about cancel culture, treachery, and the obvious hypocrisies in Hollywood that lead to some being forgiven and others vilified. Going back to the background of Barr's spectacular ascent and collapse will help put her charges and sentiments into perspective. Roseanne Barr initially gained fame as a groundbreaking comic whose sitcoms changed television forever with their biting humor and groundbreaking storytelling. The 1988 debut of Roseanne was refreshing because it painted a picture of working-class America without sugarcoating it or presenting it in a perfect Hollywood bow. Truthful, unfiltered, and unfiltered above everything else. Barr enjoyed unprecedented acclaim for almost a decade. Millions of people connected with her content and her voice, which was sometimes divisive and provocative. Her program was a smashing hit. On the other hand, her demise was sealed by this same voice. Barr was promptly relieved of his duties in 2018 following the publishing of a tweet that many viewed as racist. The sitcom was quickly canceled and renamed The Conners without her. During this time of public criticism, Barr's long-term friendship with co-star Sara Gilbert was criticized. The public's and her friends' reactions were the most heartbreaking parts of Barr's collapse, as she has later described. Sara Gilbert was at the head of the pack. She and Barr had been collaborators on the revived Roseanne for many years. For a long time, it seemed like Gilbert and Barr had a tight professional and personal connection. Gilbert played Barr's on-screen daughter. However, Gilbert wasted no time in openly criticizing Barr following her contentious post. Gilbert deemed the remark repugnant and emphasized that it did not represent the crew's or cast's integrity. Barr felt profoundly betrayed on a personal level, in addition to the professional divide. Roseanne Barr recently spoke out about the profound feelings of betrayal and grief she had following her longtime friend and co-star, Sara Gilbert's public condemnation. Barr and Gilbert had worked together for years, laughed together, and developed a close, trusting relationship. Nevertheless, all of that changed with the exchange of a few words. Gilbert's criticism struck Barr like a bolt of lightning, causing their once-cherished friendship to crumble. At a time when she needed assistance the most, Barr felt as though someone she trusted had abandoned her. The hurt came from years of friendship and commitment that vanished in an instant, not alone from the controversial post. Barr was taken aback and hurt, trying to make sense of how someone so near could leave her in such a public and merciless fashion, so abruptly and without warning. She felt a deep sense of loss and an overpowering sensation of betrayal. The more Barr thought about it, the more she had to face the truth of cancel culture, which she had witnessed from all angles. Although she acknowledged that individuals frequently seek redress when wrongdoing occurs, she couldn't shake the impression that cancel culture had far-reaching and detrimental effects. It made individuals feel unimportant and alone by excluding them from the discussion. Cancellation was more than simply losing a job. It meant losing one's identity, voice, and ability to communicate, as Barr came to understand. Cancel culture, according to Barr, did not always result in just punishments. She couldn't help but wonder why some individuals are seemingly pardoned and given a pass, while others are abandoned and made to pay for their transgressions. She considered James Gunn, another filmmaker whose previous tweets have caused public outcry. After receiving an outpouring of support, Gunn was rehired in the end. Because of this disparity, Barr began to wonder why she and other people like her were given the gift of atonement while others were not. She was profoundly affected emotionally by her encounter with cancel culture. Barr believed that everyone had looked down on her without taking into account the connections she had made or the years of hard work she had put in. It had an effect on her personally as well as professionally, making her feel rejected, lonely, and confused. According to Barr, cancel culture has the power to ruin lives by erasing them and leaving their survivors to bear the weight of forgetfulness. One member of the royal family, Prince Andrew, got himself entangled in a major controversy. Having ties to the notoriously violent and murderous Jeffrey Epstein, he was also suspected of engaging in personal misbehavior. The scene was disturbing and startling. Comedian Roseanne Barr feels it is extremely unjust that Prince Andrew has not been punished as severely as other individuals despite these charges. Even Barr found herself embroiled in controversy after tweeting something she came to regret. Her cancellation was practically instantaneous due to that one tweet, which was clearly an error. Suddenly, her once promising career took a nosedive. Barr notices a difference in treatment of individuals when she compares her circumstances to others, such as Prince Andrew. Some individuals receive second chances while others don't, according to Barr, and it's not necessarily related to how bad their offense was. Who has the most money, the most influence, and the most fame to escape the harshest repercussions, in her opinion, is more important. According to her, these factors, rather than justice, dictate how the world operates, particularly in Hollywood. Barr used to be quite successful in Hollywood, which is full of paradoxes. It asserts that it will make individuals answer for their acts, but Barr disagrees. She mentions famous people like Roman Polanski and Woody Allen. Despite facing serious charges, both men have persisted in their careers and continue to get accolades. Defying Hollywood's merciless standards, Roseanne Barr says, "Anybody who speaks out and says anything having to do with the truth, you got to give only a certain amount of truth with a whole bunch of behind it, otherwise they can sue you." Barr draws a parallel to her own experience, explaining that she was expelled after making a single mistake. For some reason, this makes her think that everyone is subject to a different set of regulations. Some people, like her, are easily disregarded, while others enjoy the benefits of fame or fortune. Barr discusses the impact on her mental health of the public shame that went beyond the loss of her job. She was met with not just severe criticism, but also an enormous amount of retaliation. She got the distinct impression that the world had decided she was irrelevant and was erasing her. A profound feeling of hopelessness washed over her as the cumulative effects of the unending criticism, the dismissal from her employment, and the rejection from those she had mistaken for friends mounted. Barr even questioned the value of life during her darkest hours. She was nearly overwhelmed by the agony of being rejected by everyone she knew. Fortunately, she had a small circle of supportive pals, including fellow comic Norm Macdonald. The impact of the harsh sentence on Barr was evident to Macdonald, who stepped up to defend her. The most devastating aspect of Barr's cancellation, beyond the loss of her career, was the loss of her identity. She felt like a monster because of the public's portrayal of her, and she couldn't seem to change their minds. There seemed to be no way out of her predicament. Barr highlights the terrible realities of cancel culture by sharing her tale. It's a society where some individuals pay a heavy price for their transgressions, while others, typically sheltered by wealth or celebrity, get away with crumbs. This system makes Barr feel extremely unjust, and it makes her wonder what it means to hold someone responsible. Roseanne Barr's scathing opinion of fake friends is another major component of her Hollywood critique. After her cancellation, Barr began to suspect that many of her supporters had ulterior motives and were just interested in financially benefiting themselves at her expense. "Those people weren't actually my friends," Barr clarified. "They were just individuals gaining financially from me, and the moment I ceased to be lucrative, they vanished." This is a common experience for those who lose popularity. Friendships in Hollywood, as Barr's narrative reveals, are frequently more about business than real concern. Belongingness may be as transient in our society as a social media craze. An important illustration of this sense of betrayal is Barr's fury at Sara Gilbert, someone she had formerly considered a close friend. Not only did the tweet cause their friendship to collapse, but Barr also came to the understanding that in Hollywood, friendships might be built more on material possessions than genuine support and connection. There were times when Barr received support, despite the fact that much of her experience was fraught with feelings of being left out and abandoned. We get a sobering glimpse at the complexity of public accountability through Barr's reflections on her encounter with cancel culture. At its core, cancel culture is an attempt to make individuals own up to their mistakes. On the other hand, as Barr's experience demonstrates, it has the potential to isolate individuals, cause them to feel rejected, and in the most extreme instances cause them immense mental suffering. The favoritism game in Hollywood's cancel movement? The larger problem in Hollywood is brought to light by Barr's sentiments of betrayal by those in the entertainment industry and by those she believed to be her friends. Rather than based on genuine friendship, it reveals how selective forgiveness can be in the business world and how many relationships are transactional. By speaking out, Barr reminds us that cancel culture affects more than just a person's career. The anguish of being canceled may never totally go away for Barr, but it does affect others. They are unique to each individual and have the potential to significantly affect their psychological well-being. The inequity and double standards that persist, both in Hollywood and beyond, are brought to light by Barr's persistent questions about why certain individuals are pardoned while others are condemned to punishment forever. There is a lot of controversy, treachery, and public consequences in the celebrity industry. The tragedy of Roseanne Barr exemplifies how cruel and quick cancel society can be. Barr was once a revered character in American entertainment, but she was booted out of Hollywood in 2018 over one tweet that likened Valerie Jarrett, a former Obama aide, to an ape. ABC promptly canceled Barr's smash-successful comedy, Roseanne. Her talent agency had already dumped her before the show's cancellation. Barr became one of the most famous victims of cancel culture as her acts caused her to be socially and professionally isolated. Despite Barr's subsequent apology, her career has not recovered to the same extent as before her downfall. The narrative of James Gunn is an example of the selective cancel culture. The directorship of Guardians of the Galaxy was removed from Gunn in 2018, following the discovery of his inflammatory tweets from years before. At first, Disney severed relations with the director due to these tweets, which included offensive humor. As an example of the inconsistencies in cancel culture, Disney rehired Gunn within months. Some people, like Gunn, are able to make a full recovery, while others, like Barr, are unable to ever return to the spotlight. Another example of how public consequences might differ based on specifics is Kevin Hart's story. When Hart's homophobic comments from 2019 reappeared soon after he was named Oscar host, he came under fire. Hart made the decision to resign from the esteemed hosting position. Accusations of violence hurt Johnny Depp's reputation and placed a damper on his business during his high-profile court dispute with ex-wife Amber Heard. After Depp prevailed in a slander action against Heard in 2022, though, things started to change for him. Depp was able to gradually restore his career once public opinion turned in his favor. Those who have not been pardoned by the public, like Barr, stand in stark contrast to Depp's steady ascent to favor. Betrayal and public shame are common motifs in Meghan Markle's narrative, which deviates from Hollywood norms. Markle became the object of relentless criticism following her marriage to Prince Harry. A major public schism emerged within the royal family as a result of the intense scrutiny and criticism that led Markle and Prince Harry to withdraw from their official obligations. The unjust vilification of public individuals, even by their own supporters, is a reality that Markle's story highlights, as do the immense demands of public life. Markle isn't a Hollywood star, but her problems mirror those of public betrayals that celebrities like Barr endure. There are several examples in Hollywood of celebrities who got in deep trouble or had their careers ended because of what they did. One of the most high-profile examples includes Bill Cosby, a comedian who was beloved by fans throughout his career, but fell on hard times after over 60 women accused him of. This resulted in his incarceration and entirely destroyed his reputation. Just like then-President Trump, comedian Kathy Griffin was the target of severe backlash after an image of her carrying a lifelike prosthetic head of Trump surfaced. She was publicly scolded and lost a lot of employment as a result of her behavior. These incidents illustrate how swiftly fan support can transform into hostility and exclusion, especially when delicate political or social concerns are involved. The rapid and powerful changes in public perception highlight how precarious celebrity status is and how far-reaching the consequences of public blunders may go. Cancel culture is a very selective and unpredictable process. Some famous people are able to move on after a controversy, but others suffer far-reaching consequences. A celebrity's destiny is determined by public opinion, the seriousness of the offense, and the amount of support from followers and colleagues. Like with Depp and Gunn, there are instances where atonement is conceivable. Like Barr's, getting back into everyone's good graces is a constant challenge in other cases. Facing stardom in the present day is complicated, as these instances show. Inconsistent cancellation practices in cancel culture have changed the face of fame and brought up issues of justice, forgiveness, and the influence of the public. In the end, these examples show that even the most powerful people may fall from grace in the eyes of the public, and that forgiveness is far from assured.